You can usually tell what kind of game this is within seconds. Neon lights, anime characters, cars drifting through a city that feels alive. And yeah, it looks cool. But the real question is, how much of that is depth, and how much of it is just surface? That's Neverness to Everness. Releasing April 29th, 2026 from Perfect World Games, this is a free-to-play open-world action RPG set in a supernatural city where normal life and complete chaos exist right next to each other. You're basically playing as an anomaly hunter, dealing with strange events, weird creatures, and a world that doesn't really follow normal rules. And I'll say this up front, I actually think the concept is really interesting. There's something about that mix of urban setting and supernatural elements that just works. It's not another fantasy world, it's not pure sci-fi. It's somewhere in between, and that gives it a different kind of identity. But I've also seen this kind of game before. And that's where things get a bit more complicated, because on the surface, Neverness to Everness looks like a mix of a lot of systems that already exist. Open world exploration, character switching combat, elemental style abilities, even things like vehicles, housing, and side activities layered on top. And don't get me wrong, that can be a huge positive. If all of those systems actually work together smoothly, this could be a really engaging experience. You've got a city to explore, characters to build, mechanics to learn, and a lot of freedom in how you approach things. But if those systems feel disconnected or shallow, then it starts to feel like a checklist instead of a game. Now, the combat itself is real-time, with multiple characters you can switch between, chaining abilities together for combos and effects. And that's usually fun. It gives you variety, it keeps things moving, and it lets you experiment with different team setups. But again, execution matters. If combat ends up being too easy, too repetitive, or too dependent on grinding for better characters, that's where things can start to fall apart. And yeah, we do have to talk about that, because this is a free-to-play game, which means monetization is part of the experience. Now, that doesn't automatically make it bad. There are plenty of free-to-play games that handle it well. But it does mean you need to be aware of what you're getting into. Progression systems, character unlocks, upgrades, all of that can be influenced by how the game is designed around monetization. So, one of the biggest unknowns right now is, how fair is it going to feel? Because if progression feels rewarding and balanced, people will stick with it. If it feels like you're constantly being pushed towards spending, that's where a lot of players will drop off. Another thing worth mentioning is the world itself. This is a full open city. You can drive, explore, interact with different systems, even engage in side activities like mini-games or life sim features. And honestly, that's one of the more exciting parts. Because if the world feels alive, if there's always something to do, something to discover, that can carry the game a long way. But if it ends up feeling empty, or like you've seen everything after a few hours, that excitement fades pretty quickly. Now, just speaking personally for a second, I actually like what this game is trying to do. It looks stylish, it has energy, and it's clearly aiming to be more than just another generic open-world RPG. But I'm also a bit cautious, because games like this rely on a lot of moving parts. And if even a few of those parts don't land properly, the whole experience can feel off. So here's the honest takeaway. You should consider trying Neverness to Everness if you enjoy open-world games, character-based combat, and just having a lot of systems to explore and experiment with. Especially since it's free to play, there's not much risk in jumping in. But you should keep your expectations realistic, because this could either be a really fun long-term game, or something that feels great at first and then slowly loses its impact. And that's something you won't fully know until you actually see it in motion. So from here, I'm stepping back. No commentary, just gameplay. Watch how it flows, how the combat feels, how alive the world actually is. Because with a game like this, that's what's going to decide everything.
Leaving us with the boring stuff here. Where's Bite Song?
Over 3 hours since Hypervortex emerged, the Wertheimer Index in central New Helios is rising. Natural nullification is in effect. Continue the search for the Nexus. Do not act rashly.
Something's up.
This is my cup of tea. All right, here comes some more freestyle.
It's been over a dozen songs. Can't you switch to a quieter channel?
Quiet! I am the destined nemesis of silence. The bringer of cacophony! Oh, fine, fine. Since I won't be able to keep you company for much longer, I'll let it slide this time.
So, could it be possible that the supernatural abilities of espers have the same origin as anomalies?
The homology theory is one of the existing hypotheses in academia. Simply put, it suggests that esper abilities are not powers derived from human functions, but rather